Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast, the JD Unplugged. I'm your host,
right.
Darren G.
And I am the Joe Van. Today we got a guest. We'll let you introduce yourself.
Welcome.
Hey guys, my name is Kelechi Ofoha. I am an actor / model / content creator. Yeah.
Nice. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Yeah. So welcome back to another episode. So first thing straight off the bat, this is just tradition, is our locations and what's going on. So I wouldn't say that I was in particular mortal danger last time you guys saw me on the last episode, but I was clearly in a pickle. I had been locked down to a bed for at least 2 to 4 weeks. I had my legs severely beaten, and now I'm in a different location. Let's just say this. Sticks work wonders, you know? I mean, what's the first thing we did as Homo sapiens? We got weapons, you know? That was kind of the thing, right? We like to think it was something more subtle, like it was fire, but I'm pretty sure it was like batons. Like we just grabbed sticks and we used it to fight, and then all of a sudden we were more powerful than all the other animals. So I just played off of that primordial fear and just anger, and I got myself out of that place. You know, they say toxic relationships, you got to drop them. So that's what I did. I dropped the lady and I skipped dodge.
And sorry to interrupt. Did your legs recover okay?
No. So fun fact, if you just hold on to them, you can just run. Yeah, it's like a life hack. You just grab onto your legs and then walk them, and you just you look like Spaghetti Man, but you can work your way out of there. Yeah. So they'll slowly heal. I'll just say this: the convenience store I'm at, nobody is speaking English. I don't exactly know where I am, but I'm seeing characters instead of letters. So something tells me I'm on the east side of the planet, even though there's no actual east or west. But when you look at an atlas, yeah, something tells me I'm over there. I don't know how I went from Canada to this other place. The lady who took me was clearly a Canadian, but yeah, I mean, I guess being strapped to a bed for a long period of time, maybe I passed out at some point, didn't realize how long I'd been gone, but you know, I'm back, baby! Now I just got to make my way back to Canada again, but I'll get there slowly but surely.
All those borders are closed, so...
Yeah. Where I'm at, there's no problem. There's no infection going on. The place is nice and clean. They were a little scared when they saw me, but they're letting me use their free Wi-Fi. So I'm back to another podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of legs being broken and borders being closed, how about the people raiding the Capitol and climbing up the walls? Like it's...
Oh my god.
The Purge. I actually saw one.
It is the Purge. Oh my god. Yeah.
They just have to let us know. Like, let us know if it's the Purge, please. But I saw these people climbing up the walls, right? And one lady, she just fell on like some metal, like it looked like it was like a futon or something, like a metal futon.
Right. I actually know some backstory to that, if you guys are interested. So I'd seen that video and people putting sound effects behind it, like WWE, like watch out, and they're like falling. So apparently a first responder was there trying to help these insane rioters, and the person showed up to help that lady and was checking, and the lady said she was fine, even though she was bleeding out both her nostrils. And the first responders, like, she was probably saying she was fine because of the adrenaline that was pumping. She couldn't really feel the pain. But the first responder helped get the lady up out of that little barricade thing and then walked her over to the side where the stairs were and let her go up the stairs. It's like, how stupid are you where you're climbing a wall and endangering yourself and there's literally stairs right beside you? Yeah, just goes to show the people that actually showed up there.
I feel like they want to make it more than it is. So it's like, let's climb the wall. It's like when I'm watching this, I'm just like...
I totally agree.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're anarchists. Yeah.
As I'm eating my popcorn, I'm just like,
what's happening? Where are the interested neighbors?
The amount of memes that I see, it was so. I was just on TikTok, like scrolling these memes against these oats. It was so
very entertaining. Scary but entertaining. Anyway, but so it's a note worth mentioning. This is technically old news now because this happened like over 10 days ago, but. What is not yet old news is the presidency. It's still, you know, by the time this episode drops, it won't be the 20th yet. So what's going to happen between now and then? Hopefully there's some kind of extra thing that happens aside from him just being dropped from the office, you know, or orange boy in the White House. Hopefully he gets impeached, or the 25th Amendment, which is where they're like not mentally stable enough to be the president, which clearly was like as soon as he took office, he wasn't mentally stable, but hopefully this does something, because he literally caused this riot to happen. Like, he's basically a dictator. Like, you got to take him down, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like at this point, it's like how much longer till he's out? Like man, that's why I just keep thinking like how much longer till he's
Yeah.
in? Like he's really holding on to that. Like he's biting it like to the last. Like do you know like when you're like eating like something like a good burger or something, and you're just holding on to that last bite?
You keep taking smaller and smaller bites because you want it to last forever. Yeah, but
it's like
yeah,
it's like the burger's done. The burger's done.
just let go,
Are
please.
you guys really surprised that this happened? Like,
No, obviously not. Well, okay. So here's my thing. So in American history, there have been assassination attempts on presidents. There have been successful ones and failed ones, like across the board, right, over at least the last 100 years. And you think of anyone, this guy would have been at least someone would have tried assassinating him. But I think the reason why it didn't happen is because everyone who's unhinged enough to like be a gun-wielding crazy person running around shooting people are on his side.
Yeah.
So that's why nobody attempted an assassination, because like everybody who hates him so much aren't people who are like unhinged enough to like run around with a gun and try to shoot the president.
Yeah, and then the ones that do hate are the ones like he's the one that like is the hater.
Got those people, yeah. So it's like that age-old expression, like be friends with the crazy people so that they don't come after you, right? Yeah, you be friends with the crazy kid with a knife at school. That way, when the day comes, yeah, he's like, you're one of the good ones, and he leaves you alone.
It's crazy. Like this 2021, like I literally couldn't even believe it. Like I looked on my I think is it yesterday, 2 days ago? I looked on my phone and I was like, wow, it's only the 7th of January. Like, no, I was like, this is popping off on 20. It's like, and I saw this like one meme where it's like, yo, 2020 turned 21, so it's turning up. I was like,
oh my god, right in America, yeah.
Now I was like, no. And then I looked at the clock. I was like, it's a week in. We're a week in, yo. Well, now it's the 10th, but still, it's like, this is that much is happening, and we're only a week in 2021.
Yeah.
No,
reminds me of 2020.
What else happen? Like, I'm just scared of like what's gonna happen next. Because like if you remember, like last year, the beginning of last year, like the whole when Cody died and when coronavirus started and all that stuff, like everything, like it was just happening one after the other. So I'm just like nervous, like what's gonna happen next.
One after the other. It was like a domino effect. 2020. I posted this one little meme like back in the day of like. Because like now I see them a little bit more, but it was a specific one that I don't see quite often anymore, where it's like a collage of different pictures, and the collage was just perfect. But essentially, it had this crying chihuahua with really sad, like watery eyes.
God, yeah.
And it was just saying the cashier is saying your total is 2020. And like,
that's funny.
The pictures that were like, it was like helicopters, like hand sanitizer, masks.
Yeah.
It was like Kobe Bryant, the tears of it. I was like, this is just
who's doing Vietnam. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like in 40 years, we're like an old person going to the cash out and they go, your total is 2020, and then you just get PTSD and start thinking of 2020.
Have you seen those memes like that of like cartoon? Like I seen a meme of like I think it was either like Family Guy or like The Simpsons that they like apparently predicted like the whole coronavirus.
Yeah. I think The Simpsons is
it was
just the ultimate predictor.
He's like on like the roof, like.
I was like, what
was
that?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? It's kind of like honestly, it's like it's almost like it's. I feel like it's like trying to like top everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like we have to.
It keeps escalating.
I'm nervous for this year.
Yeah, I know. You think things would de-escalate, but a week in, we already got an attempted coup on democracy in America. So it's like
really sad, and it's like really scary because a lot of things are going to be changing in like a short time. Because especially too, like with just the fact of like COVID in general. Do you know what I mean? Like just that in general is like. People are, I feel like they just feel like they want to be heard more. You know what I mean? And
right, yeah. Everything's being drowned out by this one piece of news.
And I just think that there's not really much people could do right now besides just like really just like we have a voice and we want to like because they've been locked away. We've been all locked.
Sure, it's caused cabin fever. I mean, look at this.
It's causing cabin. These people clearly have cabin fever. Like, they're just like, they want to be heard. They want to just be like doing something. They've been bottled up. They've been put away for like months on end. And it's like, great. Now we have a reason to be crazy, so let's do it.
Yo, but actually, so that's an interesting thing that I've kind of I've noticed this like in passing throughout the years, but it seems like I'm not going to use the term weaker because that's like what the alt-right would say, but it's like humanity seems to have we've become so comfortable with our technologies and obviously the way that general life has like become better slowly throughout the decades. Like even though we think, oh, everything's crashing around us and the world is ending, it's like humanity has never been more comfortable, at least in the first world. And when I see something like the riots that happened, I mean, like 5 people died, which is like horrific, and that's a tragedy. But think if this same act happened 200 years ago, it would have just been like an all-out battle. Like hundreds of people would have died, right? Because they would have all showed up with muskets and stuff, and it would have been like this crazy battle that happened. And nowadays, they stormed the place. They got in because Trump obviously wanted this to happen. So there was no fight by the police. They got in, and then they just didn't know what to do. So they started like grabbing stuff like podiums, and they're just like taking selfies, like like with statues.
Exactly.
And then they just didn't do anything. They're like, what do we do now that we won? Like, and then they just gave up and started wandering off.
I don't get like what was the whole point of that then?
Exactly. I think they got emotional and they're like, we gotta storm the Capitol. So they came up with that idea, but they didn't have an actual plan, and then so nothing happened. They just got there, took a bunch of selfies, and then left. And it's like what? Like, why did you even do that then in the first place?
Like, where was this energy when we were doing the Area 51 stuff? Like, where was the energy then? Where was that energy for Area 51? Y'all weren't saying the aliens. Y'all were raiding the stuff for the aliens, yo. Where was this energy when we
I was seeing I was seeing jokes about how like people are gonna secretly storm Area 51 now that everyone's distracted with the Capitol being taken. And it's just people on and off to Nevada.
It's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really don't get the point of that. Like just using all the energy to get into the building and not knowing what to do when you're there, like
that was pointless. So what you did was pointless.
Honestly, I think it was like a whole just a distraction. To be honest, like
it is. It's something like being it's just like.
I mean, hopefully nothing worse happened that we don't know about.
Do you guys how do you guys feel for instance, okay, so like I am every time, I don't know why, I remember Joe, like our first or second podcast, I got super like emotional because I was like feeling I had cabin fever for sure. Like I was like so annoyed with our government and everything. I'm just like, how does this make any sense? Right. And like I wake up every morning, I watch the news, like I'm just like, it's so weird how they just think, like how back prior, right? I remember like maybe like at our first class, I couldn't believe that the schools are still open. It's like, what do you mean the schools are open?
Right. Well, at least they're finally closed now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now they're closed now, right? And they're saying that the numbers are so high that essentially what is the situation is the kids are the ones spreading it now because they were exposed to gatherings around Christmas. That's what they said on the news this morning. They told me this. I'm like, are they serious? Like, what do you mean? Why wasn't that taken into account when they went back to school the first time?
Right, exactly. After the break or even before. Yeah, it's like obviously all you're doing is just mixing germs by putting all these kids together. So now all their families are at risk.
I don't understand why they sent them back. Like they knew they even said that, oh yeah, we're gonna have a spike as soon as they go back to school. I'm like,
yeah, we know it, but we're still gonna do it. Yeah, politics, baby.
Yeah, it is so frustrating. Like I don't even like look into it anymore because I get so aggravated at the fact of like okay. So first an example is let me do a quick little.
Oh, well, while you do a little search, some news that wasn't as widespread, obviously, because it's Canadian, and Canadians are more humble than Americans, I guess. We're not doing as crazy stuff, but a large number of politicians were fired from like across the board, like provincial leaders and like federal office members. All of these people were fired because they all went on vacation for Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh,
like as they're like saying everyone must stay indoors and not travel to your family, and then meanwhile they're like going on vacation.
They went on vacation. They all got fired.
So something was actually done about it, and they're all fired, which is awesome. But at the same time, that's like over 10 politicians were fired. It's like that's a huge number. What the hell?
So Joe, do you remember our last podcast? How I got so kind of like I got into a situation where like I felt like I have super bad anxiety where like I think this is why I have such like remember I was saying like I'm literally Katniss Everdeen without the braid because it all makes sense to me now. It really makes sense to me where like the government they just do whatever they want and like us as people we just take it. We just don't even ask questions. And one thing I think is like we're just so accustomed to not having information so wide, like free to us. So now we have phones, we have the internet. Everybody can just look up anything and find that information. Before we weren't able to do that. So now we would just accept things like, okay, that's just the way it is. All right, cool. Mm-hmm. So now it's like people have so much information. They have so many thoughts, so many different things going so many different ways where it's like, at the end of the day, though, the only solution would be shut everything down. Like, okay, for instance, we're sharing the screen right now.
Like the other countries.
We're sharing the screen right now.
Successful.
Quebec's new restrictions are they cannot leave their house from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's the restriction, okay? So these people here are saying that, like, they're pissed. Some people, they're rioting in Montreal right now. Rioting, they're getting fined $1,000, $1,500 for rioting, saying that they shouldn't be in isolation. Right. But what I don't understand is why didn't this happen the first time?
Yeah. General.
That's what I don't get. Like, what? What does that mean?
Well,
doesn't make any sense.
We can understand it very clearly because it's obvious they were reactionary rather than proactive. But still knowing that doesn't stop how annoying and aggravating that is. You go, these are adults that are supposed to be in charge of the country, in charge of the well-being of the entire population, which is us. And they just didn't do a good job. They just failed at their job. And yet they don't get fired. I think that's probably the most annoying part is that when they fail, they don't get fired. It's like, you didn't do your job right. You have failed. You should be fired and someone more competent should take your place, right? Because you think of any other job. Like imagine a chef like poisons a family of 7 with like bad lobster and they die. Shouldn't that chef be fired? Like, sure, it was one mistake, but it still cost lives and now you should be fired. Same thing should be for politicians. If they fail at a specific job, then they should be fired and replaced.
It annoys the hell out of me. And on top of it, remember, it goes back to my thing where that's why I feel like I have being a minority, like a person of color, I feel like I have to, for me, I don't know why in my genetics, I feel like that I have to have money for freedom. Because if not, I have to abide to everybody else's rules, which isn't the case. Because every single freaking rich person, every single doctor, remember I was telling you the sexiest guy is rated this year.
Right, that YouTuber doctor. Yeah.
Telling everybody to wear a mask, but he's on a yacht with freaking 30 women that have all this. What? And now you have to make a public announcement for that? Anybody with money just does whatever the hell they want. That's basically it. Done. Yeah. It's all
It's the two-pronged system.
In our world, basically money is power. So
that's what it is. And I've always deep down been a good person, and I plan to stay a good person. But I want to do that in solid by like I'm already a person that doesn't like being around people. So this is a blessing in disguise for me. I'm cool with that. I don't mind. I quit my job to create an online business before this all happened. So it's like I want to stay away from people because people annoy the fuck out of me. No offense to people, but I'm just saying
the general large rule of groups,
it's like on my paycheck, I'm getting so much taxes taken away, and you're telling me they can't support me for 2 years? Get the hell out of here with this. I paid in taxes since I was 16. Right. Where did all those fucking taxes go? You're telling me was a graduating year. My buddy, he didn't have the best car, but we were driving back from the mall, and his tire came off on the road.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because it's a pothole.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
For this, it's like, you know what I mean? Obviously, the pothole's not going to get fixed right away, instantly, But then I have people that work for the city, like my one good friend, he works for the Oakville thing, and he's the one that goes into the lines, and he says he can't believe how disgusting our city is for not like upkeeping those certain things. But it's like they're taking my paycheck, they're taking money from my paycheck every single paycheck.
Yeah, and then they're making decisions that you wouldn't agree with, right? Like if they say, okay, a certain number of taxes go to this, this, and this, and it's like, it should obviously go to infrastructure, because I feel like the difference between a first world and a second world country, not necessarily third world, because that's just a dilapidation of government, but the difference between 1 and 2 is usually the proper assembly of taxes, right? Like a first world country should have good infrastructure where a city doesn't look like it's post-apocalyptic. But then if you look at other countries like Russia or Thailand or India, they have destroyed roadways and like 8-year-olds driving and nobody gives a shit. And like it looks as if it's lawless, because although financially they're still a good country, like they still are in the top tier countries, they just aren't properly, distributing the taxes. It's mostly just corrupt governments usually. Where
they're just taking all of it for themselves. And that's the part where I get so frustrated, because you're telling me like our parents, our the generation before that, like they have, my dad is just always talking about how much tax, like when they vote based on like how much taxes. Usually it's like the taxes, how much they're getting taken away from them. That's what most people vote on, right? So you're telling me that out of 1 in a million chance we get a pandemic, one that is going to be killing tons of people, you're telling me that their country can't support all the people for 2 years to keep them inside their house? You have people losing their jobs. You have people basically rioting because they're locked out of their work, so they have to go find other work when people have been working on their businesses for their life, but yet Walmart, Costco, all these other big places,
those exceptions make no sense to me. Why are small businesses not allowed that are in the same deal, right? Whether it's groceries or basic goods. Why do they have to shut down, but then big business doesn't have to? It makes no sense.
And the government can only, if they do, because like we all see the in America they have the memes of like, give me my stimulus check, but it's like they're making jokes of like, because last year they got like a certain amount, and then this year it's like they're making jokes of like the government being mad that they have to sign off some money to them. It's like, why should the government be mad? That money's our money. It makes no sense to me, and that infuriates me to a T, where I cannot stop constantly, like I have like an obsession with money where I have to constantly be like, oh, I need this amount in my bank, because if something were to happen, I have the freedom and the ability to just do whatever the fuck I want. I don't have time.
Yeah, exactly. You have financial independence, I think it's called. Me, I do not have that yet at all. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I still have stuff saved up, but the amount of money I work as being a PA isn't exactly the most, it's not the most lucrative business in the world.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, a lot of my friends recently have like opened like online businesses because just like, they're just like, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in the next like how many years. So they're just going to start out like, and
it's insane. Like, it's insane. Actually, something a little personal. Okay, what's this funny is, let me know what you guys think about it as an online business. A friend reached out to me for Onlyfans. A friend reached out to me. Because I've had an OnlyFans since like last year. I've had like since plus last year.
What do you mean? What have you been doing? Are you a procurer of OnlyFans?
I'm ahead of the times. Anywhere there's money, I'm getting it.
So but what's going on that account? Is it okay if I ask what's going on? What do you got? Feet pics or what?
If you want to know, you can know. Of course, you can ask away. But essentially, I'm cashing out. I don't give a damn.
Okay. Yeah.
Cashing out.
I actually have a story about that because a friend told me about like the OnlyFans, like what he does on it, and I'm just like, oh, like he sells like feet pictures and like, like,
I mean, if there's a niche, you want to fill that, right? Yeah.
But I'm like, I understand where people are coming from, where like to make ends meet or like they gotta do what they gotta do. So I'm just like, you know what? Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Everybody is like, what they gotta do. They gotta do it because right now times have changed. Where you're hearing this now. Trust me, this is where like I had met with like, because last year I was doing more marketing for businesses, and then I was I was doing a lot for friends where they are starting businesses and things like this. So I would just say, hey, I started an OnlyFans, and everybody's kind of just making jokes like, yeah, I heard you can sell like feet pics and stuff on there, and it's like, yeah, but everything you have to take as like a business, right? It's not just, oh, you're posting feet and then you get money. No, you like literally every day I'm promoting it. I'm constantly posting pictures every day. It's like you have to fit a certain niche, things like that, where then people will start to follow you and things like that. So that's why I had a huge following on one of my Instagram accounts, and I just completely like just went off it because like I just feel like I'm not getting paid for that. So why do I care?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's not paying me, I don't do it.
It has the potential to be free advertising depending on the number of followers you have, but that also depends on how willing they are to self-promote you, right? Like it's kind of like building a community.
But the thing is with the OnlyFans is I wanted it to be anonymous, so people don't know who I am. They don't.
Right. You're a character. You're not like a person.
Yeah, if I were to post that on my thing that I had the 20,000 followers, then they would all. There's this like
instantly they're like, hey, Darren, what are you doing?
Clients, all these things, they would know who I am. So me, I just don't tell anybody anything, and I just collect the cash. And I figure out new ways. Like Valentine's Day is coming up, I'm thinking about packages like this to send. Like I do this on the daily, where it's like people need to really start like figuring out what is going to be the next step, because the government doesn't have your back ever. Nobody has your back. It's one man for all man, and that's what's sad about it, because you think that the government has your back and all these things, but at the end of the day, if you're struggling, you can't pay your bills. People are getting like, you can't even pay their bills. They're getting evicted from their house.
That's a scary thing. The eviction shouldn't be allowed during a pandemic. That seems like being advantageous or inhumane, you know? I don't know.
It's crazy. But the Twitch is a great one too. Like people are doing gaming. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you remain anonymous and still on a platform where it's like more visual, right? Like how do you like?
Got to put a mask on or something. Who knows?
So essentially, the best way to put it is, you have to think international, and you have to think there's 7
Oh, sure, yeah, actually.
7 billion people in the world.
Yeah, aim for Japan as your demographic.
You have to think also too, like, where's the money? I'm not trying to find people in Hamilton. I'm not trying to find people in Toronto. I'm trying to find people in, like, California. I'm trying to find people in Miami. I'm trying to find people in, like, Colorado. I'm trying to find people in Orlando. People that have money other places. I ain't trying to... People here are broke.
No offense to all of us.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's you gotta find your niche, you gotta find the people, you gotta find certain things where that's again, it's a job. It's not just this girl was asking me, a friend, and I'm saying you have to really take it like seriously. It's not just people are just it is a lot easier for girls, that's 1000% sure.
Right.
But it could be it could be really like I make some more than some girls, I'm sure. Easy. But then again, the following, right? It depends on what your goal is. Like my goal is to always make 1K US a month on OnlyFans.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
Like, it'll convert to like 1.5, 1.6, depending on the day that I convert it.
Canadian. Yeah. Nice. Very good.
For you always. Right?
Yeah,
so if you have a goal, set it and go for it. It could be with anything though, and really it doesn't have to just be it could be like Twitch, gaming, so many different things.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd like to think that I'm generally doing that, but actually to pass that on to Kelechi, how has your work life been? If you'd want to jump into that, like what have you been up to over the past 2020 and so on?
It's actually been going good because it's been going better than the last lockdown that we had, because the last lockdown, the entertainment industry wasn't able to work, but now that the entertainment industry is allowed to work this time, so hopefully I can get back into doing background and stuff, because now that I am part of the union, I earn a lot more, so I don't have to work as much, and still got money coming in, and
Oh, that's great. That's so nice to hear. Oh, that's really nice.
And wise, like that's still going. Like I was actually surprised, like the month of November and December were actually like my highest modeling months. Like a lot of people
nice.
So I was actually surprised. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's great.
Still popping. So hopefully
that's awesome.
It goes into the spring months. So I'm just waiting.
You just keep. You really just got to keep at it and just keep positive is the main thing. Positivity. Manifest it. That's the one thing I always say. Like manifest. Just manifest what you want, and it'll come true.
Yeah. So that's actually something where I've thought about how my current path is gone, because obviously Darren, you already know, and then Kelechi, I may have mentioned when we were together, but I want to get into writing generally because I've written books. So now I want to get into screenwriting and stuff, right? Even though I don't have too much of an experience there. I think about how when I graduated high school, I wanted to get into film, and I didn't know how. It wasn't writing back then. I was like, I just want to do something else, right? Whether it's like directing or acting or something. And then 6 years kind of disappeared from my life. Like my drinking just took over, and like I wasn't paying attention. Like literally it was a vacuum. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, I'm an adult. I'm like 24, 25. What am I doing with my life? I haven't even started yet. Like I just graduated high school and now here I am. I haven't done anything between those years except work random part-time jobs. So once I finally was able to dig myself out of the sort of mental ditch where I was in, where I was like just barely living kind of a thing, and I was like, I want to have goals, and I want to live like a dream life and like something that I actually enjoy, where I wake up every day and I'm happy kind of a thing. And
you got this.
And now I'm doing it, but it makes me wonder. So this is like the chaos theory or the butterfly effect. All of these incremental things had led me to exactly where I am now, but it does make me curious if I hadn't had a drinking problem and I just started in the entertainment industry right out of high school, like right as I was 18, where would I be now? Would I even be interested in writing? Because that didn't happen until I like had an accident that I wouldn't have had if I didn't work in the labor industry. So all these like tiny little minute things that led to this point. And then if COVID didn't happen, I wouldn't have met the friend AJ who I'm working with now, because he's from Atlanta, and the two of us are collaborating, writing a feature-length film right now. That obviously wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have reached, there would have been like so many different things that happened where we wouldn't have met if COVID didn't happen. So it's insane to think about the minute little things that led to whatever the current
really
situation
cool.
is.
Yeah, it's really cool. One, it's like literally a domino effect of like one thing. Mentioning on the when you said from last year, like last year when the pandemic happened, I lost all my clients, and that's why I was like, let me just start an OnlyFans just for fun.
Right. Yeah, that's so funny that I'm just hearing about this now, Darren. What the heck? Can I ask what you do?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Ask it. Whatever.
Then that's the question. What do you do? What is it? Are
like
you,
what I do? I just like
neck down stuff, like just the whole show.
Oh, okay. So like, essentially, I'm fully like you see me completely.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more of it's just I have an alias. Think of it like that.
Right. Right.
Alias people just don't know my name.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I have a fake name. That's all.
Do you do any cosplay or anything, or?
Suits are on the way. Yes.
Suits are on the way. Oh my gosh.
Suits are on the way, but I don't do any cosplay right now. But suits are on the way. We ordered 2, so I'll let you know. And I just basically it's okay. So this is kind of a little explicit, but you have to think of it as like
you lewd. Hey, this is already R-rated. We swear. So yeah.
It's you have to find a niche, right? So essentially, I'm a light-skinned guy with a very big anatomy. And and I have a small frame. I have a small frame. So I'm not super like built or anything. I'm not like really skinny, but I have a pretty tight body. Like I have a pretty tight body, and like I have like muscles, right? So like for instance, a couple days ago, maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. Wait, no, 3 or 4 days ago, we did a 7K like walk and then do the stairs. Back and forth.
Gosh, yo, that's serious stuff.
Yeah, I'm just super like I'm always just like yesterday I did 60 crunches. Like I make money from my body basically. I make money from my body.
Yeah. So you keep in tip top shape.
And what Onlyfans does is a great situation is you can I charge a amount per subscription. So to see nobody can see my content unless they were to know what my alias name is. I promote my alias name on different platforms other than like Facebook and like Instagram. There's other things you can promote it on. Yeah. So I promote it on that, and those I don't show my face because those are like going out into the public. But people that are interested in my type of style will see that and then either choose to pay the subscription that I'm paying, like charge, and from there they are unlocked of all my daily content. So I will upload every day, just random things, And by doing this every day, I get to see what gets more likes, what doesn't. And then I put more of that content out. And then now that I have like a certain amount of followers, right now, for instance, I'm going to, like last month, I did like a Christmas special. So I was like, okay, guys, just really sick video for you guys coming December 25th. But every day to December 25th, I sent all my followers a special video, a short video every day. And I charged $9.69 USD to every subscriber. And every day somebody bought one.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
December 25th. And then December 25th, I charged $40 for a video. And then like people bought that too. So it's like, you just have to like figure out ways to make more money. So like I also do I'll do mystery boxes. So I was like, buy a mystery box for $80. You buy a mystery box for $80, you can get a certain amount of items in a box, and I'll send it to you.
No kidding. Oh, so you do like shipments?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, hey, thank you for sharing that. I know I kind of just threw that on you, but I didn't know you were doing it. Like that's super interesting. Like I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So like really, it's like I think a lot of people are gonna. You can do anything. You can do working out. You can do food. You can do feet. It's just really what the niche is, and have to be patient on like what you have to be patient on like what the
what gets the people.
Like you know what I mean? Like I'll show you guys like right now, just a really quick thing. I'll show you because like some people are like, yeah, you're not serious. Oh, motherfucker, I'm serious.
No, I believe you. Yeah.
Hold up. People are like, Possible? It's possible. It's possible.
Possible, yeah, by all means.
It's impossible. Okay,
That's
so
right.
I'll show you my like I'm not trying to brag or anything, obviously.
No, that's okay. I mean,
like my balance for the month.
you got. Oh, whoa! That's more than what I make in 2 weeks, and that's my only source of income. Yeah.
And then I have my other businesses, and that's why I don't like to say too many things to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that money, invest it into the thing that I'm launching.
That's the business model, right? Yeah, exactly.
And once I do that, then I don't have to be showing my goods when I'm making.
You can obviously just want to and then make an income off it, right? It's not like you have to.
Right.
Yeah. There's different personalities for it. I will definitely say I could potentially be the personality type to jump into that thing, but I definitely don't have the body for it. I gotta get my 6-pack back. I mean, I had it back when I was doing labor, but yeah.
You have to think of it as no matter what, there's always somebody there for you. That's the thing where people are so quick. Remember, I was doing like social media marketing before anything, and like so many people are just like they're just I can't do it. It's like yes, you can. You can do anything you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You just have to want it bad enough. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's about intent. Like how, exactly. There's a will, there's a way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a will, there's a way. And like, I remember I was mentioning how like I was joking about it like last year with some friends, and now these are the same friends that are kind of like, yeah, what can you like let me know what I can do? And I'm like, yeah, I will love to help you because I want to be able to like. I feel like I just want everyone to like be happy and like everyone to get lots. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
every community around your peers.
Yeah, it's like I want everyone to get the whatever they want. They should be able to get it.
Yeah. Like that's one thing that I always found curious is the idea, like getting into the entertainment industry. It's basically about making professional friendships, and I always found that weird because I'm like, how do you do like what like because I've never had a mind. I don't have like a money mind or a business model mind or anything, right? Like it's just one of those things. Something clicks or doesn't, right? So for me, I just walk around and say, "Hey, how's it going?" and then walk away. Like I don't go, "Hey, do you guys like want to buy my book or do you want to like, hey, do you want to like share business cards or something like that, right?" And it wasn't like, and I guess I still don't have that mind, but I at least understand it a bit more now because I've got reoccurring jobs from like the same person. Like I've become friends with someone who's a producer who has now like gotten me onto another project, like the one I'm currently on. So it's like, oh, so that's what it means by like, yeah, like making relations with people. And the funny thing is, the people who've gotten me subsequent jobs were never people who have been in the industry for years. It's other people who are just starting, who are producers or whatever, right? So it's interesting. It's only with peers that give you a chance almost, right? The people who've been in the business for 20 years don't seem to help out the little guys, or if they do, it's always like a charity thing. They go, "Oh yeah, sure, kid, I'll throw you another job."
And but then like you have to prove yourself from there. It's like it's really hard. Yeah, it's like.
But then and then if you work with peers, then that's not the case because you're both learning together. So you guys just become friends, and then they keep bringing you on for future stuff because they just like you and know you're reliable. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's really like just the path that you want to take. So go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like as long as you show like especially in the I've noticed especially in the entertainment industry, like as long as you show that like you're passionate about what you do, I think there's a lot of people would help you out. Like I've talked to a lot of people like on set, even like production when I would be like an extra and then like I would be talking to like some of the production people and I told my how I got on the job that we met.
Yeah.
I told what's his name? Jason. I'm like, Jason, like I want to like do something in production. Like I want to do more like start as a PA or something. And he's like, yeah, I totally have a gig for you. Like I would.
Oh my God, just instantly, yeah.
Like I totally forgot that he went from background to doing casting. I didn't even have that in the back of my mind when I was starting the conversation too. And I'm just like,
right, yeah.
I need to tell somebody. I'm like, I want to do something else. Like, and he was just, I was like, oh my God. And then he got me the 3 days and I'm like, holy shit. Like, that was awesome. So
yeah. That's just how it works. It's like
it's basically you asked and then you just received. It's like thank you. Is it Christmas? Yes, it is. Yeah. I'll take it.
I'm so grateful because not a lot of people will do that. but he's a genuinely like kind person, and he knows what it feels like to be in background and like want to do something else.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to find those people, and it's all about just talking to people and like, you know, talking to whoever you can on set. I feel like.
Yeah.
And like with all this negativity and stuff going on in the world, like even to like prior what I was saying about my job in specific, it's why I quit my job, because I just felt like the place that I worked, I loved, but it's just the people were just like dragging me down and like just like, and it's like I remember like in order for me to quit my job, I had started an Amazon like small little business, and I just remember talking about it even when I wanted to be an influencer. At one point I wanted to be an influencer. I did it, got 20K, was getting stuff sent to me all the time, and I was like, this is just like a little bit of a hassle and not really what I want, and I didn't really know at the time, so I just kind of blew it off. But I just remember always kind of just putting out my like feelings of like my dreams, and all the time just being like, but why would you do that? Why? Like just kind of like in a negative way where it's like, that's why I felt like I had to take myself out of that situation to put myself in a different situation, where I then made a little group of just like entrepreneurs that I met just from seeing their like content, and I made a little group together. And there was this one girl from Toronto, and I remember in the group I just wasn't really liking her that much, and I was, because she was just kind of like had this attitude, and I was like, why is she just like this? And because I kind of like called her out on the attitude, she messaged me separately and was like, hey, like, sorry that I'm coming off this way, I really apologize. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just being too harsh, because I'm super dedicated and passionate about my business, and da da da. And she was like, no, like, and then we started helping each other in different ways. And then I remember mentioning that I would love to start a podcast. This girl sends me Joe's name and number, and
I'm meeting up
with Joe in like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and then bingo bango, the rest is history. Yeah, now it's been over a year. It's crazy to think about, but yeah, we met just before the pandemic, which is weird.
Okay.
Yo, honestly, actually, so we met December of 2019, like in the middle of December, and still we were able to make how many, like 12 episodes before the pandemic hit. Like, it's pretty productive. I like that's like 12 hours of content, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's like,
and I was still going strong.
It's just like when I saw your stuff, I was like, he's so good. Like, he just has that voice. He's just like,
I can do like the radio voice.
It's just natural, I feel.
It's very natural.
Other podcasts, just, your conversations are just like natural, and like you guys just go on back and forth. I'm just like, oh my god, this is actually dope.
And I feel like it just helps to have a regular conversation. Like, we can talk about topics, but also when we talk about ourselves, it kind of helps people understand that we're just people hanging out. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what our following is yet, but
it's real, man.
Regardless, we're just doing this for ourselves, if anything, right? It's not for clout, which I think would be the bad way to go into it. You got to go into it just wanting to do it, and then go from there.
Exactly. I feel like people can relate to like just regular people talking about their experiences, because again, there's so much regular people.
Yeah, that's the majority of the people, like, in life. Yeah.
Like, you know, having a job that they're not really
in
and wanting to get out and wanting to become an entrepreneur, wanting to start their own business. Like, when we talk about topics like that, I feel like it's really relatable, and I think that's what drew me to your podcast as well.
Nice.
About, like, relatable topics, you know?
And
it's really quite interesting though how so many of us are going through the exact same, and yet you can feel in a world of 7 billion, it's like you feel so alone.
You can feel isolated, which is like the saddest part. It's a weird paradox between, like, we have communication now to be able to reach anyone, like, across the planet, and yet still we end up in situations where so many people feel isolated. Like kind of a scary statistic is, in the country of South Korea, their suicide rate is higher than any other country in the world. Even though they're not a third world country, they're really good financially. Like, they're a healthy country to be part of, and yet they still have this huge issue. And even actually, it was news that was barely covered because COVID was such a big thing. But at some point in 2020, I forget when, like maybe right in the midpoint in the summertime, their prime minister committed suicide. And that's kind of freaky to think. It's like even the people in the high office are committing. Like, what is going on in South Korea where they have this issue? It's so sad. Yeah, like what's happening in their society? Everyone's sad.
I realize even just being an actor and reaching that amount of just seeing like other professional actors reach that amount of success where they're earning a certain amount of money. I'm just understanding like no amount of money can buy your happiness, or like no amount can be happy. And I'm just looking at like the celebrities now, like how many celebrities like committed suicide or are addicted to crack, or all that stuff,
or just died from drug overdose. There's so many.
And they have so much money. They have so much money.
Like, and I see people like that are obviously not the richest like around me, and they're just like, oh yeah, as long as I have money this, as long as I have money that. I'm just like, yeah, but be careful, because again, money is the root of all evil.
It's not the solution.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's really. Oh, I love that you brought this up.
As long as you can be aware when you're, you know, again, money can provide a lot of opportunity and get you a lot of things. But again, you just have to be careful, like how it takes over your life and how it controls your mind and all that stuff. So it's just like, be aware.
You're so right. You are so 1000% right. And I think I even had mentioned this on the last podcast with Joe, because I was going through this situation of like anxiety, because it's almost like in my previous workplaces, I've always been the type to want to start at the bottom and just make my way to the very top, but without anyone kind of knowing that. I would just like sit, shut my mouth, and do what I need to do and get to the top.
Climb the ladder.
And then it would happen every time. So when I feel like now that I am running my own business, I was doing social media marketing for a year and some, and it went really well, but it caused so much of like an anxiety for me, where I realized the money wasn't worth the anxiety and like things like this, where I was like, okay, I need to revamp, do something more, do something less, to where I am now, to the point where even though that I had that financial security and all those things like this, remember Joe, I was telling you, I sometimes will have nightmares. Like 4 days.
Well, sometimes it was kind of regular, like you're just waking up.
I'm like something deep down inside is just wrong, and it's like I'm broken in some sort of way where, like for instance, like you guys are mentioning with the Onlyfans, like the Onlyfans really, like I'm able to maybe just freely do this because I don't have much family, right? So I don't really need to be going and be like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing Onlyfans. It's like I don't really have to talk. Like you guys may have a different situation where you have more family, and it's like it's a different situation for you, but for me, it's like I literally have like kind of no one. So it's like I just go in my, and that is where I think I 100,000% can be a victim of what you were just mentioning, of
if the money
could be the root of all evil, where I have to really like, I'm learning this thing where, because remember I was mentioning on my, with the movie Wonder Woman, and like, because my head is like literally crazy, where it's like, on my Instagram I have, the only thing I'll settle for is more.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like.
But I posted this. But get this, Kay. When I was an influencer, maybe like 2018, I posted a picture with this same caption, and somebody commented saying, "I hope more is enough." And I've always thought about that, still to this day. And I'm like, more is never enough. And for me, I can 1000% say I am a victim of someone that thinks they need more and more and more, but it's because I lost my family, I lost my dog, like something that's very close to me, and I'm thinking I'm trying to replace more with that, and no matter how much I keep getting, I will still literally, I can just instantly just start crying when I start thinking about a certain feeling, because it's like that's the feeling that needs to be fixed first. It starts inside first.
Yeah. Well, and also the idea of like more will never be enough kind of thing, that's extremely easy to understand as a concept, but that's not the same thing as being able to feel it. It's almost the same as like with my drinking problem. I was conscious that I had a drinking problem for 2 years before I finally stopped. And so it's not, knowing isn't the same thing as being able to actually feel it, right? Like it took me actually being able to feel the knowledge, right? Or it's like, oh, I know drinking is going to kill me one day, or drinking is going to ruin my life because it does this thing, or this Jekyll Hyde thing with me. And then it wasn't until I actually was able to like feel that idea, or I don't know, like I almost sound stupid saying this, but it's like, you know, that's the difference. It's there's knowing and then there's actually feeling, and that's what causes a change in most people, right? It can, whatever that might be in their life, but yeah.
People won't recognize, like, a lot of people won't change until something hits them. Like,
Right, until there's a traumatic event or something.
like until something physically happens to you, or like you're in the hospital or something. That's when you start to like realize, okay, like, and that's what sucks, because maybe it may be too late sometimes, like, you know.
Yeah, and that was for me. Like, I literally, I think, like, I don't like. There was, believe this. I think I mentioned it to you, Joe, that there was a time where I didn't look in the mirror for almost 2 years.
I don't know if it was almost 2 years, but you had mentioned,
It was like, I don't know if it was almost 2 years, but like roughly, it was like for sure a year where I just would not look in the mirror ever, because I just hated myself so much because of like drinking and all this stuff, and like just I was a really bad person.
We should tell Kelechi, yeah, because I don't know if I gave you the backstory, but both Darren and I are recovered alcoholics. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned that. Just generally saying drinking problem, but yeah,
I don't
to be specific, Darren and I connected on that one point, and so we actually started a podcast called the AAA, and then now we're doing this podcast, the Unplugged. But yeah, just so you got that background info. But yeah,
congratulations for getting out of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like now we're back at default, but just to be able to get out of that pit is like difficult. So
yeah, and it really, like, 1000%, like, I'm still dealing with these things every single day. It's like insane where like I have these things on my phone now where it's like it helps me like de-stress, where it sends me like notifications of just like super simple like quotes or something that are just
that's good.
It's really good, because I am like so negative in my head all the time, to the point where that's why I think I might be like, it's almost like, okay, so when I went to therapy, it was like my therapist said it was like a superpower to have. At the same time, balance is key. So like superpowers can obviously take over and make a person evil and bad, and that's like where. So for me, it's more of like, okay, when I would leave work, like, okay, so the first day, like one day I was a man, like they're like, okay, Darren, you're the manager now. First day I manage, I go home, I can't sleep.
Right.
Like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do this. Oh my god, he's speaking. To the point where like I'm not sleeping at all. So I have to go to the therapist. The therapist is like, that's amazing that you do that, because if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be the manager. Like, people go home. Like, people will just go home, and like that's it. They're done. They just go home and they just. I don't care if I didn't put the ketchup on.
Happy little yeah.
Me, I'm like, I care about what the person above is like gonna come, because I'm just like a perfectionist in that way. But nothing can be perfect. And
the pain is a gift, but it's also pain.
It's like it destroys me almost, where it's like I can't. It's like I don't know how to turn it off. It's like. Remember, I think I mentioned like something with like the Phoenix, like a telepath, like something where it's like I just can't. I'm hearing voices and like I can't turn it off. Where it helps me, because then I can see that the customer isn't okay with something. I can sense it, and like I'm on it. And then where most people are like, oh, it wasn't that good, and they'll just go off. Okay, bye. But me, it wasn't that good. Oh, okay. Well, what can I do for you? I'm sorry that this is happening. You know, I'm always just on top of it, where it'll eat me alive. So I've just been trying to 1000% be used to not doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. So that there was something earlier that I wanted to mention, and I think this perfectly relates to this sentiment. And it's I recently seen the movie Sound of Metal. Have either of you guys heard of that movie?
Oh.
It was around in like film fest and stuff in 2019, but then I didn't even hear about it until like the end of 2020. But it's I'm trying to think of the actor's name. He was in Nightcrawler, not Jake Gyllenhaal, but the friend. Well, okay. Regardless, he plays this guy who like is a drummer in like a death metal band, and he starts to lose his hearing. And you slowly learn, because it's kind of like a character piece kind of movie. You learn about how like he used to have a heroin addiction, and he needs to constantly be working, and he's kind of like a workaholic in that sense, where it's like he wakes up super early, and he can't go to sleep until he's like exhausted, kind of a thing. And his girlfriend ends up like leaving him at this deaf community shelter, because she's like, you need help, because he's like completely in denial. He's like, I just need to buy like a hearing implant, like it's only 40,000. And like meanwhile they've like been together for like years, and they've never made 40,000 inside of a year that they'd be able to like hold on to spend on a hearing aid. So they're like, you have to accept the fact that you're now deaf, like you're a deaf person. And the trip of him having to eventually get there, where He doesn't accept it because it's like a Catholic outreach thing, and he's like, well, I'm not religious, like why would I do this? And they're just like, the church helps people, not religious people, like you just got to come in. And then they start to try to slowly give him tips like, in the morning stop doing things and just sit in a room. You can try to write, but the main point of sitting in the room is to just be able to sit with yourself, like just sit in silence and just try to do that. And so the whole movie, he doesn't do that. He's like freaking out in the room and punching stuff. Obviously, nobody hears because everyone there is deaf. And then other times he's like scribbling, writing stuff down, and he kind of has like graffiti writing, like it looks like someone who like would have like dropped out of grade 6 kind of a thing, like super scrappy writing. So he doesn't really like writing because he doesn't like his penmanship. And then yeah, without spoiling anything, because it isn't much of a spoiler movie, it's more of just like a slice of life movie, but it kind of ends with him finally being able to sit in silence, and it's like this super peaceful note, because the whole time in the movie you're just hearing like the screaming, like super loud because he used to be a drummer for death metal band, so he's all about like just loud noises to like help distract his thoughts or whatever. Of fear of like maybe him going back to the heroin or something, right, just to try to settle this noise in his mind. But finally gets to a point where he's able to find just a moment. It's not like he becomes like enlightened, it's just like a moment where everything becomes still and quiet, and he's able to just sit in peace.
Wow, that is so interesting.
Like that's one of the first things that I learned, to actually sit and do nothing, just sit in yourself.
Yeah.
Just
so I think that's like has something to do with me. I think I'm still trying to forgive myself for like the drinking and all that stuff, and it's just like a daily thing where like I think that's what it. I don't know yet. Remember I was telling you with the dreams? Like I'm always running in my dreams. I'm always just trying to escape. I'm always getting chased in the dreams. I'm waking up like sweating, soaking sweat. I have to change my fucking pants, underwear like 4 times a day because I'm just constantly sweating. Like my roommate even like he was like, why don't you get some like that powder? I don't know. He said some sort of like powder.
Oh, there's a thing. Yeah. You can.
I was like, okay, well, I need this because I cannot. Like, I get so nervous because I'm constantly like overthinking things. Where to the point where that's why I make that certain amount, because I'm constantly overthinking. Oh well, did this follower like this? Okay, I gotta send him this. Okay, did this follower this? Okay, then I gotta send this. Every morning I check my Gmail. I'm like, did I make a sale? Did I do this? Did I check this? Did I check this? Did I like? It's literally like I wake up. I go to bed excited to go to bed to wake up the next morning because I just want to check my shit to see if I made anything, to the point where you're obsessed, you're crazy, you need to calm down and like bring it down. So hobbies, going out and exercising, painting, all these things. I'm painting, and then I'm painting and I'm just like, oh, I can sell these. I'm just like crazy. Like it's just like calm down.
Never ending.
It's not always about money. You have enough money. You have more than enough money to pay your bills. You have more than enough to get groceries. It's like breathe, bro. Breathe.
Yeah. There are many words that can describe that behavior. Obviously, you're the only one who would know, but you could be labeled as a workaholic. You could be labeled as an overthinker. And I don't know if this would apply, but yeah, OCD doesn't necessarily have to involve tics, because I know for a lot of people it's repeated behaviors. You can just have mental OCD where it's repeated thoughts, where it's just recurring and it does not stop. So that could be something that isn't like trauma related. That's just genetic. You're just born with OCD of the mind. I don't know if it's a different label for it, but yeah. So it could just be conditional.
I think it.
Therefore, you stress.
I do think that might be the result, and I think because I was in the workplace, it worked very well for me because I can. Being in a kitchen or a manager, vice versa, or a server, it's like you're delegated. You're assigned so many tasks at once where it's like, I love it because I can just rip every chit down. I'm killing it. That's why because there's so many things where I'm just like on it all the time. I can think about 20 different things at once. This table, that, I'm on it. But then now it's like all that has changed so quickly for me where it's like, I don't know how to like turn it off, as opposed to when I was 3 years prior to me I would just go home and just drink constantly, so I don't have to think about those things, right? So now that when I was working, not drinking for the 3 years, it's like that's when my anxiety got really bad to the point where I just had to quit.
Yeah.
Right, because the people were just stressing me out too much, and then I lost my dog, so it was like everything that I have it's lost. Every time I have it, I lose it, and that's also my issue with the money, where I feel like that's why I have to kind of have a certain amount for me to feel safe and secure. But once I have it, literally, I have 2 right here, like 2 little post-its saying that it's a goal of how much I wanted to make. I've made it already, and I said this to myself. I said, once I make this amount, I'm gonna be good. No, I'm not. I'm still trying to get more now. So it's like it's never enough.
The same sentiment.
You one of the reasons why you do that is because you think you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
You're just like constantly kind of refill.
Loss.
So if I do lose it, I still have some more. I don't know, but that's not enough. So you just keep trying to.
It's sad, and I'm working on it. But talking about it with you guys, and like, teaches me. It really teaches me, and I like take so much from it, and I'm learning every single day. And I know one day I know it'll just slowly, if you keep making the right positive steps and just know where to go. Like, you just have to know. You know what I mean? You gotta know that it'll get better.
Yeah. So self-awareness is the first key, right? I mean, that's everything. Yeah. And actually, that leads to a question that I have to place on both of you guys, because I don't think I've asked you this yet in all the podcasts that we've done, Darren. But once upon a time, when I was making a little YouTube video when the lockdown started, I talked about the concept of determinism. So how familiar are you guys with that word or association?
I'm familiar with it, but I'm just going to pull it up right now so that you can... Do you have it already?
Well, so I don't have the definition in front of me, but from what I recall, my semantic understanding is there are three modes of philosophy in this regard: determinism, predeterminism, and indeterminism. And determinism is cause and effect. Everything happens for a reason, but that reason is the past thing that happened. It's the billiard ball experiment where, you know, like a ball hits another ball and they go all over the place.
Yeah.
Firmness of purpose, resoluteness, the process of establishing something exactly by calculation or research. So basically time, right? We're all a slave to time because the past thing dictates the future thing, because we associate things we like with what our childhood was and what our preferences are, and then it builds decision making that we do in the future. So my question for you guys is this: so I'm not a believer in destiny. I'm a believer in cause and effect, which is the same thing but different, because there's no intent behind it. Versus where in destiny, it's like the universe is telling me to do something. My question is, do we live in a world that has karma, but not like in nature, because nature is its own beast, but in society? Do you think that karma exists in that sense, where what you put out comes back to you, based solely on the social element of people and society? Do you think that's like a thing? And have you experienced anything directly like that? Like, can you attest to any moments of karma that have happened in your life, for good or ill?
Well, I'll let you go first.
Oh, sure. Well, I can give an example. How about that to start it off? So let's say I do one of those random acts of kindness where you pay for someone's meal, like in a Timmy's lineup. You go, oh, and I'll also pay for whoever's behind me. And nobody knows it was you or whatever. And so it's not like the universe is giving you something after that fact. But if you continuously have a behavior where you don't expect an outcome, there will be someone who gets you later on and they go, hey, like, that was such a nice thing. Why'd you do that? You didn't even do that for a reward or anything? You go, no. And they go, okay, well, let me give you something. Because otherwise that individual has had, like, the last week been people trying to, like, scum stuff off them. And so they have this thing, like an object, and they end up giving it to you because of the intent that you had. It's almost like Harry Potter with the Philosopher's Stone. Someone who like needs it but does not want it will get it, versus those who want it will not get it, or whatever. Like, it's all about pure intentions or whatever. Yeah. It's like those who deserve it versus those who pine after or something. I don't know if that was too
I already have my answer. I have my answer already. I'm ready. Okay. But I'll let her go first.
Well, I don't know. Well, you guys tell me this is a good example. Like, how I started my modeling career. I never wanted to go into modeling.
Oh, okay.
I never had an intention of going into modeling. I went to acting school. That was my plan. Like, and I started taking a couple pictures. I'm just like, oh, and other people would tell me, oh, like, oh, you have the height for this, you have the face for it. Like, why don't you do it? And I was like, oh, okay, well. Okay, like,
sure, yeah.
Sounds good, yeah.
It's like something that I never wanted, and I ended up being very, very good at it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I would be at like casting calls with other agency models, and I did that. I did my whole modeling career freelance. I did not have an agent at all, but I did it.
Right, nice.
Wow. Good for you.
You beat out the middleman. Yeah, that's amazing.
I love that. Nice.
Like, I never had an intent. I never like thought. because I would meet other girls and like they were like, modeling is my life. I always wanted to
Right.
be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I never had that. I mean, I never like experienced that. I just kind of like started walking, taking videos of myself, and then other people would tell me. I don't know if that's a good
That
example.
definitely counts. Yeah, I would say because your intention was not being like I'm gonna get rich being a model, or your intention wasn't to model and try to make these networking decisions. It just happened by you being nice and like people liking your stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully that's a good example.
I think it is absolutely.
Yeah,
That's the
that
universe
seems...
working in your favor, except it's not the universe; it's other people. But yeah.
Yeah, so the universe was working in your favor because... Okay, so what if I were to say something like this? Like, sometimes, okay. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, I think of it as like the person that was talking to you and being like, I want modeling so bad. It's like, it's fine to want something so bad, but
Yeah,
I
of course,
think...
it's not bad for her. Yeah.
Like, I think it's just certain... Everybody, no matter what, has their own path. And I think that on that path, there's highs and there's lows, and people are very quick to compare but you can the one thing in life is you can never compare, and that's one thing that I've always been really good with, is not comparing myself with anybody, and that's why I've always been like, okay, I'm a leader, I'm never a follower. I've always just never compared. I've never had that genetic of like, I've had the anxiety genetic, but I never had the anxiety where I was like, oh,
competition.
He has that, I can't have that. I'm always like, he has that, I can get like 20 of those. Like, I'm always like, it's so easy. I can just work for it. You can get anything you want. So I'm just thinking of it as like, at certain times, people have highlights and other people see the highlights, and then that can motivate them or not motivate them in a certain way where it changes their path or doesn't. So like, this girl could like be like, oh my god, I want modeling so bad, and then come across you who's just doing something, like doing it where it's not you want it so bad, it's just more of like you enjoy doing it, it's a hobby, whatever, where she may want it too bad, where it's like maybe you need to enjoy it a little bit more.
She's putting people off. Yeah.
Where she learns that, and then in the future she pops off. But we don't know that because we don't know her. But she's probably popping off as some model. You know what I mean? She's doing her thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that definitely is like, I believe in 100%. It's like what you put out there will come back to you. And I think with these new like things that are popping up on my phone, it's a great example of like, it could be a rainy day, but it's how you look at the day, right? Like, in my head, a rainy day, it could be a beautiful day in my head, but outside it's just raining. For the person, though, it could be a bad day in their head, and then they go outside and they're like, the world hates me. This person just cut me off. This person but it's like a person could cut me off, and I'm just like, like this, for instance, I was coming back from the store today, and a guy honked me, like, because I didn't. So essentially, I'm trying to just turn into the right lane, but there's traffic is coming, and there's 2 lanes, but there's no one in the right lane, but there's traffic in the left lane. And at any point, somebody could just merge over in the right lane, and as I'm turning, they can just hit me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to kind of wait till the left lane is clearing up a bit so that both lanes are clear, so that when I turn, it's clear. He wants me to turn into the right lane right away.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to do. I still waited for that car to come. I just see it as like, he needs somewhere to be. And it's so funny because he was turning on the next corner, so it's like, okay, if he was in that of a rush just to turn the next corner,
maybe he's peeing his pants, right? So he's not necessarily mad.
So be it.
Yeah, there's tons of reasons why they
like, so be it. I could have just been like,
get angry back, and then it causes
get out my car, which I did one time. Remember I told you the one time that the person cut me off in the drive-thru, and I got out of the car and was like, you ready to scrap, boo? Because I can lay my horn all day long. But then at that time I was an alcoholic. So you live and you learn, right? It's like, or when that lady did cut me off in the drive-thru the other time, like a little while ago, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, this lady cut me off in the drive-thru. She's so mad at me, and I'm like, I don't even care, because it happened to me prior where I got so mad at somebody. The next day, I felt like a shit. The day after that, I felt shit. Weeks went by, I was like, I can't believe I got out of my car wanting to fight somebody in a McDonald's truck. Like, I couldn't believe the type of person I was. You live and you learn, where I was like, okay, now my karma must be good, because I'm thinking of things of like, it may be a bad day, but at the end of the day, you have this, 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 you have this. Look at all the positive you have.
Yeah.
It's really, I think, like a mindset thing.
Yeah. It's a mentality, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think if you have a good mindset, Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to bad people. Good things happen to good people. Bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people. It's just the way the world is.
Yeah. It's
And
everything. It's not one way or the
It's how
other.
you look at it. Yeah, it's how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of situations where, like, for myself, I will just be quick to be the victim. Like, I will be like, this person is like one time I got out of my because I just moved when I just first moved here. Obviously, I'm a skin of color, so everybody in the neighborhood, like literally, I was walking the dog the other day, and this old lady across the street, just always staring at me. I'm walking the dog at 7 in the morning. She's literally staring at me like I'm gonna rob her. I'm like, lady, it's fine. I give her a wave, and then she shuts all the blinds, turns off all the lights. It's like, okay, you mad for what though?
Yeah.
Why you're staring at me. You're staring at me. I'm just being killing them with kindness. They're mad.
Very black and white antagonist. Like she's clearly like a goofy cartoon villain. Yeah.
So one time I was like pulling out of my driveway. A guy's daughter almost backs up into my car. She honks me down the street, acting a craziness. I get into my car the next day, whatever. I hear a holler. You almost ran into my daughter. I'm like, I'm so confused. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How did I run into your daughter? It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I'm parked. My car's parked. She's the one reversing from her driveway. She needs to be paying attention. Reversing? Yeah. What do you mean? I mean, well, you're speeding. And now just blaming it on me now speeding. I'm like, how am I speeding? We live in a court. So in the court, there's no ends. So where am I speeding to? Like, what? It's just, so that, I remember that week specifically, I lost my dog. I quit my job. All this stuff had happened. This guy's yelling at me outside. I literally am like texting my friend. I hate the world. People are just awful, awful people. Like I hate people. Do I not now go? Maybe in the same week, a lady at the very end of the street calls me over, and I'm like, okay, hi. She's like, hey, like, I just made this little thing for you. Give me 1 second. Goes in her house, comes out with this like garden that she like put together. And she's like, I always see you just look so friendly and kind, and like you're just always waving and saying nice. Because I always say hi. Because I always just say hi. Like if I drive by, I'll just say hi and she'll wave back. But I've never spoken to her. Gives me this nice like it was like marigolds, like a spider plant, and I still have it to this day. Like it's in my living room. And she just did that out of kindness, and I was like, in the same neighborhood. He's on one end, she's on the other end. It's like the same street. How. People. The thought mentality of him coming out. All I did was get in my car and just drive and go. And cussing me out, his daughter drive. They're going to get what's coming to them, but it's like little things, you know what I mean? Where it's like how you look at it. Mm-hmm. Can really change a lot. And like,
if you want to have a negative day, then you know what? Be negative, but who really wants to have a negative day?
Right.
So you always have a choice to choose negative or positive, right? So
there's always a choice at the end of the day, and I think that's where a lot of people kind of get. They just think
days. A lot of people are just nonchalant about things, so it's easy for them to be passive about things. Some people just go off emotion all the time, so they're really and it. Sometimes it goes negative, sometimes it goes positive, but again, you do have a choice, so it's like,
right?
Who really wants a negative attitude, like a negative mood all day? No one.
And I guess, and then too, like you have your days, you know what I mean? Like when you have those days where you just wake up and you're like, I am not down. Everybody has those days, but it doesn't mean that you have to take that out on someone else. It's starting.
Yeah. We are recording. Oops. My battery died. I put it in the freezer at the convenience store. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
so
no.
Now I've broken into someone's house and I'm using their iPhone.
So we were just mentioning of like the quarantine, the snacking, and like getting by during the it's so strange. It's like you guys are the two people that I'm seeing. Like I don't really see anyone. So it's like, it's so strange. Yeah. Like I'm just like seeing Gordon Ramsay like every day. I'm like, wow, Gordon Ramsay. Like,
oh my gosh.
Literally, it's like my life. So I'm just thinking like, this is where I feel like I'm watching the news and they're like, it's hard to keep the kids inside because like kids are just cooped up all day. But it's like, we're all in quarantine right now. And my problem is I feel bad just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel bad not being productive. So I'm always like, should I be doing something? Should I not be doing something? I don't know how to like relax, or I'm like, you know what? I just don't care right now. Everybody's in quarantine. Let me just take it easy. Let me just relax. It is what it is. Let me just watch some Disney Plus, Prime, all this damn. I have all of them. Seriously, it's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I thought of that, and it like the first quarantine, I learned so much because the first quarantine I didn't do shit. I didn't do jack.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, now just
It was
relax. And just do it.
honestly, it was really bad. Like I gained so much weight the first quarantine.
Yeah.
I was eating, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't moving, like I wasn't going
Freshman
outside.
15.
No. And I had to learn from that. I'm like, we're not gonna do the same bad routine the second time around. And now I like take some time to like work out, take some time to like
I love working out.
videos and and take some time to like, sit down and just relax and watch some Netflix, take some time, and shower and get ready even though I'm not going anywhere. And I think this is just important to like have a routine.
Yes.
So just like just have a routine.
Agreed 100%.
Exactly.
Like do a routine, feel good. Like I feel the shittiest when I don't shower. Like I can't go. Like I was looking on my feed. Like I have like a news thing on my feed that'll tell me it was like thing like how long can you go for showering? Like how long can you go without showering during quarantine? I go. Okay, so like I showered this morning. On those days, I have to shower by tomorrow night. I have to. Like I cannot go long. I'm not comfortable. I won't be comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I sweat so much.
And like, just I won't want to do anything.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah.
So I like to like wake up. Yesterday I brushed my teeth so hard I was spitting out blood. I was like, I just.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I'm so bored. I'm.
Hygiene.
I'm just like I'm hygienic. I'm just like I'm bored. So like, my nails are done. Like brows did everything. I'm like chilling.
That's all about feeling good and like because if you don't feel good, you're not gonna want to like take care of yourself. You're not gonna want to care and
yeah.
To be honest, like I think to be in a positive headspace, you just have to care. Like you have to feel good. You have to put yourself in a clean, nice space, productive space where if you wanted to work, if you wanted to do anything, you could.
I agree 100%. 100%. It's like, and I think it's really hard to get in that mindset sometimes when you're not in the mindset of that.
Exactly.
Like when you're just like
yourself to do it. Like
yeah, it's really hard.
I was in the first lockdown that we had. I was such like in a sluggish I did not want to do anything, and I'm just like I can have it because that's not normally me. Because usually again we're like working, we're like up at a certain time in the morning, like doing our routine. So when we went into that lockdown, I was just like, yeah, finally time off. I get to do nothing. I don't get to work, and then I was just taking it too far. Like it was really bad. I didn't film any video. Like I was
just taking it too far.
I was just taking too much of that.
You literally were like on vacation.
Yeah, I was like
coconuts, like.
Oh, it was not cute.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, you can't be doing this, girl. So.
Yeah, but like Joe, what about you? Like you moved. How has the move been with the quarantine? Like you're living with your girlfriend now. Like how's that?
It's great. It's literally so like the first quarantine, I started making YouTube videos, and then which like it's enjoyable. It's not the same as like working, so it's not like I wasn't feeling any kind of stress like I have to make the YouTube videos. It was just something that I thought of, so I started doing that, and then I ended up making like I think over 60 videos now, so that's not too bad. But the move was definitely like that was in the latter half. That was like November, right? So I was like still working during that time. Like even though Toronto was in lockdown, I was like Kelechi just said, like the lockdown affected the entertainment industry the first time, but the second time it didn't. We just kept going. So I've just been working this whole time, so I haven't experienced a second lockdown. Which is weird to say because it's like Toronto has been in lockdown for months now, and yet I just haven't experienced that. I've just been working, which is obviously what a lot of other people have experienced who work in like groceries and like with LCBO and stuff. They never experienced the lockdown. They were still constantly working the whole time. But my first experience was the second time where I was just still working. So it just doesn't feel like a lockdown. It just feels like me going around and having to deal with crazy people. because I'm the PA, so I'm like a professional shopper. So I got to go to like the Walmart and Dollarama and like stand in line with someone like breathing down my neck, and I have to like donkey kick them to get them away from me. I'm like, give me space, like yeah. So
Joe, you've been working this
stress of like idiots in public, but aside from that, it's been fine.
So you've been working this whole time, Joe? I didn't realize you're just you're just on Christmas break, I guess, right?
I was on Christmas break. Yeah. So I got 2 weeks off there, and then.
Okay, but what I don't understand is like, how come you're not in quarantine? Like, how you're not in lockdown right now? We're in lockdown.
I think I should be. You know, my honest opinion is that I think the production should shut down. But until they do, I can't quit. Like morally, you know, like I feel like I need to keep working if I have the chance.
Oh yeah, of course. It's just so interesting.
They can afford.
But I want them to fire me. That way, I at least have a reason to not be working, right?
Yeah.
I want to be safe. I want to not work, but at the same time, I need money.
Yeah.
And Amazon and stuff like that, they still have to give us content because we're at home expecting content to be made or content to be put up so that we can do something or watch something. So,
which is like mentioning this one thing too. I don't know. You guys can agree or disagree, but I don't think it's appropriate for Wonder Woman 84 to be charging $30 to view.
Well, I did not pay $30 and I viewed it.
You sure as hell, sure as hell I didn't pay that either. But I'm thinking in my head, why would people pay that?
At all, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Because they just don't know any better. They don't know about Foot Locker. They need to be informed. They need to be educated.
How do you not know? And like seeing
there are people out there who don't know.
$34, I live alone. Like I'm just like, you're a fool. That's what you do. That makes no sense. They're all robbed. We just get robbed. And like, but wait a minute though. Are we able to get like aren't we able to get some sort of payment now? I don't know. I heard this somewhere.
I don't know. Is that a thing? Like a second serve?
I think. I think. You guys might qualify. You guys have to look into that.
That is definitely worth looking into. Yeah, I just didn't think about it.
Have you heard anything? Nothing?
I know the CRB and not the CRB, the CRB, the other one, the recovery.
Something like this, where it's like, I think you just get money. But I don't know like how that really works.
But you have to like make under a certain amount a year.
Yeah.
Like 34,000. Under 34 or 38,000.
Something like that.
That, as long as you make under that, it's CERB is included, but the CRB is not. So you take that into account.
Yeah, like you have to pay that back. I don't know, to be honest. But I was like,
you have to pay the what's it called?
Like something like 5.
That's taxable, but the CRB was the tax was already taken out before they gave you the money.
Oh, I'd kind of prefer that. I'd rather not have to worry about doing that myself. Just tax it for me and then give me the full.
Yeah. Just and then send me the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I heard. It was something like that. I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm trying to get a payment. Damn. Just saying, I'm trying to get a payment too. But I don't know. So I got to see. I'll look into it. I don't know. I haven't really.
Yeah. Find out what the amount is and just apply.
I'll let you guys know. Yeah, definitely too. If you guys know anything, let me know. Like, but check it out. Why not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The government's providing it, which is
CRB is $900 every 2 weeks.
Okay.
You just reapplying, and then as long as you don't make over 38,000
a year,
38,000 a year, then you're good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, something like that. Okay, well there you go. Bam. That's not bad. Bad, right? I mean, it's something that where the government's providing something, when you should jump on it and take it, because it's like that's your own money just coming back to you, basically.
Exactly.
So that's money
you put in.
It's part of the pool. Taken away for so long. Like, think of it as like we've been working since like I started working as soon as I could work 16.
I was a bit before that. 16.
Taxing.
I was working illegally when I was 13 or 14, but then yeah.
I was working for my uncle's store and just made cash. But like again, it's just like doesn't matter still. Now he's getting taxed.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's getting taxed. Yeah.
Someone's getting taxed. It's really cool though to like know that you're not alone. We're all going through this together, kind of thing. So
there is at least that collective mentality. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like the thing that Joe was talking about in terms of like the becoming like a writer or like doing writing stuff. I know there's a website where you can write stories and like make money from it by depending on how many people read it,
Oh, okay.
how many people view it. So I think it's like Vocal or something.
Huh.
Yeah, Vocal.
Really? Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So you literally write stories on, and then you upload them, and then depending on how many people read it, you
make the money. Wow, so it's like YouTube, but for books or something for short.
What is it called? Do you know? If you don't mind,
Vocal Plus or Vocal or something.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Let's see if anything comes up. Yeah, Vocal Plus members Ryan Whitaker, Mel Pierce. It's our mission to provide the best storytelling tools and communities. Yeah, that's it right there.
Nice. Yeah,
Cool.
Kelechi, yeah, you were mentioning like when we were working together about like different ways of how to get into like background acting and stuff, because I was kind of curious about that and asking you about that. You got like 1,000,001 tips and like stuff to know.
It's because I've been doing it for so long, and
Yeah.
I was very interested in it because I saw like how much money you could actually make, and like people were making like full-on action members were making $37 an hour, and like we would be on sets for like 3 days, and they would make already $1,000. I'm like, what? Like,
Can I do that? Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let me just gain more information on this so I know exactly what I'm getting into. And then I was on the actual website like day in and day out, just reading over like the steps and reading over like the possibilities and the advantages and disadvantages and the rights that you have, and like just the comparison. And I'm just like, you know what, this is something that I kind of want to look into. And background, it's the smartest decision that I made, just because a lot of people that I've met on background, they have other businesses which they work on while they're at that, like while they're working on background.
While they're waiting, yeah, like literally on set, yeah.
So I'm just like, oh my god, this is like a 2-for-1 special.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
You can literally like bring your full life, your laptop, like whatever you need, and just be working until they call you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wait,
that is kind of an amazing, yeah, oh my gosh.
You work when you want to work.
Yeah.
Wow.
I gotta make that move. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, yeah.
I don't know, Joe. Do that.
Whenever you're
doing
not
something, Joe.
doing stuff, like you can, I was on the set of they were shooting Sneakerella, which is like, I'd say the black version of Cinderella.
Okay, yeah.
It's Sneakerella? Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Disney Plus like in 2021, like later on in 2021. But
okay.
the guy, like, I think he was the assistant to the camera op.
Okay.
And he literally they needed someone else, like they needed some guy for background, or like they needed another waiter for background, and he was already dressed in all black, and so he was like, oh, I'll do it. So then he got paid to do background, and he got paid on the production. So he got like he was, I'm just like, what? Like, I was
that's even an option? Like, what?
2-for-1.
Like, oh, what? And I'm like, this is crazy, because the amount of money you can make on a set is like, it's
music to my ears. Music to my ears.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, and then you have to, like, it is still like a normal job in terms of, you know, you have a time where you have to be there and a time where you have to leave and stuff like that. But it's just like, in terms of background, they're not using you all 13 hours. Like, they're not using you all 12 hours of the day. So, you know, you can still invest some of that time and put it into your business.
Yeah.
That's
the good part.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I definitely gotta keep talking to you about that, like after this episode, because like
I'll answer them to the best of my abilities based off of like what I learned. But let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of almost wanted to like do that like immediately while we were working, like when we were working together. But yeah. So I definitely may very well continue to message you just to
like,
figure that out.
Like, I mean, if you want to work, the industry is still going. So like this, I tell all my friends, I'm like, this is the time to get into it, and it's like you don't need any requirements. Like,
your background. That's like
you're not. Like,
yeah. That's really, really, really cool, because my roommate does acting too.
Yeah, he does acting, right?
It doesn't matter like what you look like. Cause I know like in terms of like modeling or in terms of even like principal acting, they base you off of exactly what you look like.
Yeah.
But this is kind of something that like they don't care what you look like. You don't. There's no like requirements or restrictions or whatever. Like you can come as you are and still get booked for work every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then you get to go do what you want to do on the side.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was the smartest, especially people that have their own like side hustles and side businesses and stuff like that. Like so smart.
It's so good just to like, especially if you enjoy it. Like if you enjoy it, you don't mind, and you know what you're getting into. You're okay with just being there and chilling and getting you know what I mean? It's like it sounds amazing.
Yeah, really fun.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
You do start off at 14, but if you do get a credit or if you do like join the union, you go from 14 to 27 to 37.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's a huge jump.
Well, it's and being a PA, there's not that chance at all.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like
yeah. There's no ladder to climb. What I'm currently doing.
Exactly. So
yeah. Really, really interesting.
I mean, consider me sold. I mean, that's the best pitch you could possibly make.
And what is a PA though? Like, and do you like what's your plan? Like, what do you want to get? Is there like a specific route that you want to take? Like, or like you want to be a producer or like
just as writing, which I'm currently doing, like for an American. So I'm just so I'm not even working in Canada, which is so funny because that's always the stereotype is if you get work and become successful in a certain field, you just move to America immediately. But yeah. I mean, again, not that I'm like pining specifically to become successful, but I just want to be able to create something that gets created and be able to be creative and have that be a way to make an income. So that's my only current plan. So everything I'm doing right now in Canada has not led me there and is not leading me there. The only thing right now is what I'm doing in America. So
is there any onset like? Because I know writing is usually like offset, but is there like onset stuff that you want to do, or like is it just like
it's fun being on camera? Like I've of the times that I haven't really done that much professionally except for when I was at Sheridan. I was like a background actor. That was it, and like I didn't even think that was what it was called. I was just doing something. I didn't get paid for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then you should like.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, like in terms of onset stuff, because I thought you wanted to get into like something else, like onset, like either like lighting or like
just no, none of that technical stuff. Just writing the creative side.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you should totally do it because
absolutely, yeah.
That writing is something that you can do in your spare time while you're on set
that's what I find amazing is that if you're just like waiting until they call for you and the whole time you're allowed just to bring your laptop, then I could literally be writing the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then now as a PA, obviously you can't because you're busy the whole time. You have to be sweeping or driving to get stuff. Like they keep you busy the entire time. So that's the ultimate difference, I feel like. Yeah.
You can't just sit down and like write.
Work on your own thing.
Into it this season, like see if you can get into it because I know they're gonna start sending us jobs and stuff soon. So like if you don't already have a background agent, just start looking into one. Like I can send you some that are like for free. You don't have to pay anything.
Oh, I absolutely. Yeah. There's no way I'm gonna say no to that. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Some really good agents and they book me a lot and
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. Honestly, yeah.
Like, everybody gets to eat and I like in terms like it's like I don't know for me, but a lot of people like they will always message me and say, "Oh, well, thank you for like making." Because you know how I made those after videos, right? Like telling people how to after and stuff. They were just like, "Oh, thank you for like telling me. Thank you for making this video because like I had so many questions, but I just didn't know how to like ask you and stuff." And I'm just like, "No problem. This is exactly why I make these videos." And I'm just like, because I know a lot of people that just don't feel comfortable or don't like know how to like start the conversation. And I used to be in that position, so I know exactly how it feels to like want answers but like not know how to go about it or want to get to a place and not know how to start.
Yeah. Well, actually, wait. So that's kind of a perfect segue into plugs. Not everybody is a content creator, but you, like Darren and I, are. So would you want to, like give a shout out now to your channel, a YouTube channel? And
sure. You guys can find me on YouTube at Kelechi TV. like
Kelechi
Kelechi and then TV, and yeah,
That's awesome.
And we'll put that as a link on this YouTube
awesome.
video, this podcast that we put out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Get it up,
Thank
get it up, get it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Like, you definitely got something there.
Yeah, seriously.
Because it's like people have the
A
questions.
super real conversation at the end here. That was literally like something we would normally talk
Anybody
about.
can do it. Like, if you want to make money, like if you want to get out of your 9 to 5 job and do something more exciting.
Yeah.
I know people that are doing it for like 40 years. Like,
Seriously,
they made it a full time, so it can be done.
And I'm sure a lot of people right now, it's the time where it's like, hey, you know what? I may need some other options right now, just you know what I mean? Just to keep busy. Like, right? Sometimes you don't. It's like, I just want to just do something.
Yeah.
I enjoy this. Why not? It's almost like free money.
And
yeah,
I tell
seriously.
sometimes there's a lot of kids on set and they have to be with their parents. And I even talk to some of their parents. I'm just like, why don't you do it too? Like, it makes no sense.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's
you're here with your kid already. Like, you might as well make 2 incomes instead of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you're already waiting here all day.
With them, so it's just like, you're already sitting here all day. Why don't you just get paid for it?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's like, it doesn't happen until, like, you see somebody doing it. Like, you're like, wow, you're doing this? Oh my gosh, that means I can do it too. It's like,
I'm over here already.
right?
Like, I was talking to this one lady, and she's just like, oh, she wanted to get to know more about the whole, like, background stuff. And she's like, yeah, she's like, she was asking about her kid, and I'm like, ma'am, like, why don't you do it? Like, she's like, I'm like, you can do it too, you know that, right? And she's like, really? Like, she didn't even know that. And I'm just like, yeah, like, you're here, all you have to do is make sure you have your agent and get your voucher signed and all. And like, wow. So, like, she had no clue. And I'm like, there's people
There you go. All it takes is the conversation.
Yeah. It really does. And it's like I think it comes down to, like, wanting it. It's like, how bad do people really want things, right? And then with the karma and things like that, it draws in really well of, like, if you put it out there, if you manifest it, it'll come back to you. People always think that it's, like, bad to ask questions. No, ask as many questions as you want. No question is stupid. If you feel that it's stupid, then that person is stupid for making you feel that way.
To make you feel
Doesn't
like
matter. Yeah, like, it's like, ask as many questions as you
know.
You never know.
And I'm like, feel free to, like, talk. Feel free to, like, I'm not gonna bite, like. And this is what will make my YouTube videos, because some people aren't comfortable, like, coming up to people in person and asking how they started, all that stuff. And I understand that, because I used to be that way. So I'm just like, you know what? And some people aren't, like, some people learn differently. Some people aren't willing to go on the website and read paragraphs upon paragraphs upon paragraphs. So I wanted to create another way, like, visually and a way for you to hear my voice, and
yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's essentially like kind of like when I started my social media business. It's basically what I kind of, like, grounded it on was, like, showing people that it's really possible to just have a goal, set it, and hit it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you kind of have to, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, we're very easy to be negative and, like, oh, this won't happen, da 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 da. But the moment you take that first step in that right direction, you'll see that, oh, it's a lot easier as you keep going. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, and you're like, then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm doing this. I'm actually doing it. I thought it was so hard prior. Why did I think these things? Because it's all in our head. It's a lot worse than we assume it is, right? And that's where someone like yourself really can, when you visually see that, see your energy, you can really just be like, wow, it is possible. Even, like, something as minuscule as, like, my Onlyfans. That's why I showed you guys the amount.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because there's so many guys that'll ask me, like, how do you...
Yeah, like, as you talked about it before, and I was like, wow. Because I knew about OnlyFans last year as well, but I always had the notion, I'm just like, everybody's like all the girls are on it doing this. I just had this negative connotation about it. And I was like, you know what? No. Like, I shouldn't do it. But, like, now that you talk about it from, like, a business aspect, I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. There's so many other things that you could do on it. And if you do it as a business, like, take that first step with positivity, like, you can make you can fully make an income off of it, and like
Yeah.
you doing that. So thank you for sharing that.
Right? Yeah.
I know, and it's like really,
Dehumanizing it. Yeah.
it's really like, again, like if you want it, you just gotta like put. And again, remember, Joe, you were mentioning with the karma thing. Like right now, you may feel like, oh, like I want to be doing this. You know where you want to be, and you know you want to get there. But it's like right now, you're not supposed to be there for a reason, because you're meant to learn some other things, so that when you do get there, lock and loaded. Like you're ready. You're ready to shoot the bullet.
Do all the side missions before you get to the main quest. Yeah, that's all of the
You know what I mean?
in open world games. Yeah, do all of the side missions to accumulate everything, and then like go do the main quest. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you really learn you really gather so much of that. Like you get health, you get all these things, machines, you get little things to pick locks and things, you know?
My final piece of technology is dying, so I might be leaving you guys again. But
okay. Well, we'll end it up. But did you want to say something?
Yeah.
I think you wanted to.
Yeah, like I have so many friends that would be like, "Oh, like how do you stay consistent like with your videos even though you're not making money?" Like, and it's just like it's not the money that's driving me. So
Yeah.
you have to find your passion, and once you find your passion, that will drive you and help you be consistent. And then if the money comes along with it, I mean that's a plus. So be it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're not doing it from the love, like if you're not doing it, that people can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're social creatures. We can tell these things. Yeah, if you come from a genuine place.
It's really, really true. Like, you really have to just want what you want. And again, it comes to that aspect of like, because we have social media and all these things at our hands, it's so easy to feel less than. Look at somebody, they have this. And it's like, no matter what somebody else has, you always feel like you don't have enough, but trust me, you have enough and you'll get to the point that you need to get to. Because is more enough? I don't know, Darren. You let me know.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's just not meant for you. Like everybody has their own path.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what's theirs may not be for you. So,
exactly.
Right, exactly. There's no one way to do something. Like if people write a book about how to become successful, that's just not true. It's patently like everybody has their own way of doing something. So there's no one size fits all.
I take the lessons and apply that to my own life, but it won't be like do everything that you did and expect the same result.
Yeah. And then success is a word that's defined differently by everybody, right? So it's like really just, again, I think it comes down to like what's on the inside. Like if you can have the nicest clothes, but on the inside you're rotten as hell. Like you can have the ugliest clothes and on the inside you are a freaking rose. You know what I mean? And I think you can't let these things really get in your way. Just know that essentially this is like kind of like 2021 affirmations, like being positive. Just know that your path is for you, and what's on it, if you put the effort to make it through, you'll make it through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts, legit, right? And it's like with your topic, Joe, of like karma, I think it does somewhat exist. It's just more of like, it's not really of like, I did something bad, so now something bad's gonna happen to me, or I did something good, and now something extra good's gonna happen to me. It's just more of like life. Life throws things at you, and good or bad, it's how you as a person take it.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
will
how you
shape,
react to it. Yeah.
That will shape your path essentially, and that's kind of what I believe in.
Yeah, nice, very good. And that's a really good way to end it too. And so I gotta say, Kelechi, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Awesome having a chat with you guys. You guys have the best topics.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
No.
So
great. So yeah, honestly, it's crazy how I've just been dying this whole time, and now my phone's dying too. But thank you so much for bearing with all these technical jibber jabbers, and I guess we'll see where I end up next episode. But until then, everybody at home listening and watching, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, be safe. Take care.
Bye-bye.